group stalking in this room, running into the storage. The demon knows where I'm coming, that I'm coming out, in the same way that they know. Oh, question. Bueno. Hi. Good morning. I'm looking to see if you guys have any extra towels. So group stalking and alignment in the rooms, beating on the walls, amplification. Go ahead. While I'm on crossing path. While I'm on the crossing path, demonic pacing, while fake suns over the hotel. In the rooms, stalking with audible activity creation. These are demons who are pacing, walking in opposite directions, just like they do in vehicles, and they're all monitoring what I'm doing on my phone. They're all worthy of federal prison. They're sex offenders engaged in group stalking with the state, while the entity keeps a fake sun through this hotel window, as you saw at 6 p.m. These are indeed demons. Demonic pacing, one body after another, one body after another, one body after another, demonic pacing. Demonic pacing, crossing path, crossing path, crossing path. And the demons are engaging in surveillance while they're in the hotel room. Amplified sound of beating on the walls. Every time I'm engaging in taking screenshots, and you'll see the time that I was captured a series of screenshots. The fake sun at Alvarado Gardens versus the fake sun at the same time at this property. Those are indeed demons that are pacing, working at the venue, going to federal prison. Same condition. Okay, doing so in a specific environment. There's no sun at Alvarado Gardens. Okay, hold on one second. Hi, quick question. Do you know if I can get some towels?
Of course you can.
This is a demon. So the use of sirens, coexisting with presence and amplified audible activity, the same when genitalia is exposed in private space. Working at the venue. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Have a good day.
You too.
That is indeed P.O.C. That's what they're doing while I'm inside of the room. So demons that are, again, under the guise of cleaning, the same thing under the guise of remaining in the room. Same demonic behavior. You're just looking at a different type of costume, if you will. The patron versus the housekeeper, it's the same criminal presence, the same demonic behavior, the same specific environment. The targeted amplification, while the demons engage in surveillance via traffic, the demons engage in surveillance via emergency vehicles. All right, that's amplified sirens, and the demons that are engaged in sexual violence as one. While my legs are open, genitalia is exposed. The sex offenders engage in the targeted act because it's impossible to hear. It's impossible to have flashing directed light. It's impossible to have a fake sun. So that's understanding the targeting conduct, while the sex offenders want to monitor you at the moment that they know your legs are open and your genitalia is exposed. TOWNEPLACE Suites by Marriott, engaged in the P.O.C. right now on camera. That was demonic pacing, one demon after another. That was literally this conduct that I showed you. This is what a demon wants to do, cross path back and forth. They do it, the demon possessed do it by multiple bodies. That's what group stalking is. So you saw a series of demons in the hallway walking in opposite directions toward me, together crossing path. And you also saw it while the employees of the venue, all of whom are going to federal prison. That's systematic facilitation. They're also doing so with knowledge of what I'm documenting. And so what I was documenting is what you will review here. This is the evidence speaking to what is the perpetual sex offense committed by the people of the state and the state together. So while the demons are engaged in criminal monitoring on the venue of the internet, they are aware of what I'm capturing, screen images of the extensive documentation at Alvarado Gardens at 1806 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 6, where the fake sun is at 10 a.m. Directly over my head as I'm facing the hillside where the sun would rise in the morning. I'm capturing on July 25th the fake sun that's seen through the windshield of a demon. That's how you're identifying the condition, because that's an impossible occurrence. That's not the natural environment. This is where the demon possessed are engaging in a satanic method of stalking you, doing so in a manner that you're not supposed to be aware of. The fact that there is an entire engineered environment around you. This is the practice of witchcraft. This is what demons are doing all around you while they're engaging in an identical behavioral pattern. This is the personality, in other words, the behavior of Satan, as Satan uses the entire population that surrounds you, going from body to body to body, if you will. This is demon possession. It is a criminal act by the government while the government practices demonic activity. Everything about the pattern of conduct is targeted. The audible activity creation, the fake sun is targeted. The engineer light is targeted. The amplified audible activity, it's targeted. So then you're looking at the sexually violent and predatory purpose of targeting while you're physically nude with knowledge that my genitalia is exposed. That's when the sex offender likes to engage in the targeted act of amplifying audible activity in an environment where a fake sun remains over the hotel all day long. Exhibit A. The light source is over me at Alvarado Gardens at the Hillside, apartment 1806, number 6, facing the hillside. This is the fake sun in perfect alignment with me at TOWNEPLACE Suites by Marriott, where you just saw demons engaging in demonic pacing. What I just documented right now with the demons in the hallway, that's not ordinary human behavior. That was demonic method. That was terrorism, while demons are engaging in pacing all around you like hollow minions. They're the living dead, and they're pacing all around on an ongoing basis, stalking me. The demons want to engage in that pattern of conduct while appearing as though they're doing something like housekeeping, while appearing as though they're doing something like checking out of the hotel, while appearing as though they're doing something like driving around the hotel in traffic, while engaging in appearing as though they're doing something while sounding sirens as though there's an emergency, like you're going anywhere, when you're not going anywhere. They're demons stalking in an environment, maintaining presence as an entity, and the sex offenders engage in this elements of monitoring under a fake sun, which I'm showing you comparing and contrasting Alvarado Gardens at the same time, 10 a.m. Well, this is TOWNEPLACE Suites by Marriott in Monrovia, California at the same time, 10:04, 4 minutes. The fake sun didn't go anywhere on this day at Alvarado Gardens. You already know the evidence. It remains right there at Alvarado Gardens all day long. In fact, it stays at this same position over the top of my head until as late as 2:30, 2:44 in the afternoon. The fake sun doesn't go anywhere. It remains where I remain. That's why it's now documenting a grand departure, however, nothing even close to what is the natural environment, giving context to what are demons who you just saw pacing in a hallway at the facilitating venue. Demons who are engaging in housekeeping, and while they are doing so, engaging in criminal presence, the sound of amplification beating the walls. You already know what the demon in room 517 is doing. They're acting together while they are aware of every screenshot that I'm capturing. Every time I capture a screenshot, boom, 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 boom. All right, that's terrorism. Also, what you just saw while I'm walking outside in the hallway, documenting it, those are demons that are pacing around. That's terrorism. I'm going to prosecute for that. While they are monitoring on a communication device, that's Title 18 criminal conduct, knowing exactly what I'm documenting as I'm documenting it on a communication device on the internet in violation of Title 18, 22618 subsections 1 and 2. The demons that are outside of this building do the same thing. As I documented, stalking with the creation of sirens as I am uploading documentation onto the venue of the internet. That's exactly what I documented the other day as I am online reviewing the entity that is group stalking. The entity is engaging in the frequency with which they engage in criminal summoning is based on what I do, what it is that I'm saying, what it is that I might be documenting or speaking of. And that's a method of targeting, identifying the targeting conduct. But you also know that it's targeting because the fake sun, because of the targeted engineer light, because of the targeted amplification of audible activity, which is also serving a predatory and sexually perverted, sexually motivated aspect of the pattern of conduct. The demon possessed are violent sex offenders, which is what group stalking is. And that's exactly how it's going to be prosecuted. Over and under the age of majority, you will be prosecuted as an exceedingly violent sex offender, which is what group stalking is. This is the state that's engaging in exceedingly violent sex offense as an entity, engaging in a conspiracy to murder and or kidnap permanently and a targeted individual, an American citizen. That's what group stalking is. That's an impossible occurrence right now. We're hearing the revving of an engine of a vehicle that's on Myrtle and Huntington while I'm on the 4th floor of a hotel. And I am also showing you the evidence of what is a fake sun that's not possibly over 2 of these venues at the same time. And at each of which documentation showing the maintenance of said light source for 12 plus hours in the day. This is the pattern of conduct that's underway at TOWNEPLACE Suites by Marriott. While you're looking at it here at 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm reminding you not only as we contrast it with Los Angeles, California, where through my blinds that are closed, the entity keeping a fake sun in perfect alignment with my bedroom window, this is where these are demons group stalking on the this street right here, Myrtle and Huntington. The entity is engaged in repeated crossing of path, and I'm showing you the crime scene where demons are group stalking. The entity is, you see it at the top, it's in alignment with my bedroom window, 6:42 p.m., 6:28 to 6:39, I captured video yesterday evening. You can see the light source through the windshields of the vehicles parked at Alvarado Gardens, which is not anywhere near a hotel in Monrovia, California, at the intersection of Myrtle and Huntington, nor anywhere in Monrovia at all. It's in LA at Alvarado Gardens, which is how you see it through the windshields of the vehicles parked at Alvarado Gardens. The same parking lot where at 7, 8, 9, 10, etc. every hour in the morning, this fake sun is seen through the windshields of the vehicles, the windows of the buildings. There is no mistaking the location of that light source, which is not the sun. That light source is speaking to the targeted conduct with regard to amplified audible activity that you just heard. The demons also do it with sirens, with knowledge of what it is that I'm doing. Let me be clear. This is not prosecution for, I've already established the prosecution for the state for being demon possessed, which is terrorism by an entity that's stalking you. So this is worse than a horror flick. You have what are the living dead that are chasing me around everywhere. They're also violent sex offenders that like to engage in their demonic behavioral pattern when they know that my legs are spread wide open, when they know that my genitalia is fully exposed. Those are the moments when they want to engage in the phenomenon. They want to engage in targeted light activity. They want to engage in amplified audible activity, which is demonic. It's an act of the phenomenon in the first place, and it's occurring within the phenomenon. A fake sun remains over the venue where that ongoing pattern of conduct is underway. It is indeed targeted. It is the prosecution for TOWNEPLACE Suites by Marriott as a sex offender. I'm going to recover for them for engaging in sexual violence as an entity. While they're engaging in and facilitating, as you see demons fill the hotel, all they're doing is maintaining criminal presence, and so are the demons that are working at the hotel. Many of whose faces I've captured, but I don't need to even capture all their faces. The entire employee Rolodex, if you will, is going to be produced because they're all going to federal prison. This is an exceedingly violent sex offense that is unfathomable. And it's something that's supposed to torture the targeted individual in silence. You're not able to, who you're going to report it to? Who are you going to describe it to? Who's going to believe you about a fake sun, about so-called engineered light? Who even comes up with that title, but one that is capable of articulating what Satan is doing amongst a corrupt government and a corrupt people, all of whom are demon possessed? This is that sexual violence that is never supposed to be reported, never supposed to be spoken of, never supposed to be heard of. Specifically with the intent, the conspiracy to murder and or permanently kidnap that targeted individual, which the demon possessed enjoy sexually violating together with children. You saw the entity engaging in group stalking by children, room 418. That's what they like to do. They're maintaining presence in this hotel room under a fake sun with engineered light and amplified audible activity. And the entity is doing that pursuant to a pattern of conduct. That's what the entire apartment complex of Alvarado Gardens is going to federal prison for. All 59 units. They can move wherever they want. There will not be any labor. It's no laborious task for the federal government to reach out its long arm and pull you into whatever federal tribunal where this will be entertained, and you're going to federal prison. So the entity is doing so now at a hotel, and the pattern of conduct is readily identifiable. When I'm capturing screenshots, you have the demon possessed who are working at the venue and want to wear a disguise as employees housekeeping. Those demons are engaged in federal stalking, beating on the walls, which is amplified audible activity in relevant position under the fake sun, which as I'm capturing screen images of, all of the demons are aware. This is the fake sun that's shown over the parking lot side. This is the covering over the parking lot side. This is the same covering right here over the parking lot side, and I'm showing you the duration of time analysis, 9:22. The fake sun is right over the top of my head. I told you what the entity, the demon possessed, are doing under a fake sun that remains on one side of my person, the top of my head all day long, and then setting on the opposite side of my person. You see that very highly illustrated inside of the hotel building at intersection Myrtle and Huntington. You saw that inside of the apartment building, Alvarado Gardens, the living room window to the bedroom window. You've seen this, for example, on the same day, even down to the same hour, as I also contrasted the P.O.C. to what I'm doing on the same day and the same time in Ontario, California, July 2022. And I'm maintaining presence at the Ovid Family Community Library at this time of year. There is no sun that's over the Ovid Family Community Library that you're looking at over this parking lot. You can clearly see it on a daily basis as I'm capturing. And this is also as you isolate it. You don't even have to compare it to the Ovid Family Community Library, but I do for purposes of doing my due diligence, providing for no rebuttal for any demon-possessed contender that would like to suggest it's your imagination or just some unintelligent argument that this looks like it's here, but it's not. It's also over Ontario somewhere, or it's through the bedroom window in Los Angeles somewhere, because it's not. And it's not enough for me to say that that's asinine and unintelligent and that that's a demon that doesn't want the truth to be known about what Satan is doing amongst them and those like them. I want to be clear, the entity is engaging in what is the maintenance of a light source that's readily identifiable. Through the specific environment, the entity is maintaining a light source in ways in which you can clearly see. This is the same vantage point. While I'm inside of this lobby here, I am showing you through the windshield. This would be the same, essentially the same position for this fake sun to be here. It's going to be seen through a windshield of a vehicle parked in the parking lot at the same location. I'm giving you this vantage point. This is non-movement of the so-called sun. That's not going to be the sun that will be present. You've got essentially an hour later, it's at the same location. That's not the sun. That's not the sun at all. I want to be clear. The entity engages in keeping the fake sun present for 12 plus hours. That's totally far-fetched, as I stated, asininity with regard to what is blatant stalking by demons. I want to be clear. Not only have I already established beyond a reasonable doubt the fact that the government is stalking, it's not just enough to understand that it's terrorism because they're demon possessed. This will be prosecuted as a sex offense that it is. The perpetual sex offender is engaging in sexual violence with real-time knowledge of the fact of anything and everything that you're doing. In addition to that, the fact that the entity is engaging in sexual violence as a population, and in addition to that, the entity engages in more and more sexual violence as you document, as you expose it. And so this is what is underway while the entity engages in targeted conduct such as amplified audible activity. Targeted conduct, which the entity generously provides on video after video and then wants to engage in conduct as though it's normal or that anybody forgot about it. No one forgot about it. That's an impossible occurrence. There's a pattern of that amongst this population. It's very targeted. It's occurring in a targeted environment. Where I go, there is a fake sun. This is where the entity is stalking in helicopters, airplanes, and through the entity that criminally misuses emergency vehicles to engage in demonic activity, light activity, relevant positioning, and amplified audible activity. The entity does so while it is aware that I am physically indisposed and that my genitalia is being, my legs are open, my genitalia is exposed, my body is nude. That's the mind state. That's the mens rea. That's the sexually perverted and predatory purpose of the demon possessed, the state of California. This will be recognized under federal law as a sex offense committed by an entity, and it will be sliced down, individualized, that is, by every license plate, every person's image, everyone under the age of 18 acting within a pattern of group stalking. So the entity acts with 5-year-old, 6-year-old children. You're going to document that because they're going to lose custody of those children. But I'm talking about those that will gain a criminal record, such as Susana Martinez's 15-year-old daughter. She engaged in a pattern of a documented group stalking and monitoring, showing a specific intent and desire on unilaterally as I documented her and engaging and repeatedly engaging in a pattern. That is one who is exhibiting knowledge, specific knowledge, and an intent and purpose to act with the government who was monitoring me with her and via her criminal activity. She's going to be prosecuted as a sex offender. And justice does not under any circumstances make an exception. Oh, well, this sex offender is underage. No. If you rape somebody and you happen to be 15 years old, it's all the more egregious and you will be prosecuted as a sex offender. So the entity is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. It's exceedingly violent. Sexual violence. That's what it is. Because the population is doing it, because the demon possessed, the personality defect of the demon possessed is to engage in more sexual violence, more sexually offensive conduct, because the entity is molesting with engineered light, violating your person, because the entity is engaging in things such as watching you on the internet, placing cameras inside of your private space so that they can watch your nude body, watch you undress, watch you do whatever it is you do inside of your private space. That's also relevant to what is a sex offense by the entity. That is group stalking, keeping you under surveillance. The demon possessed who practice things such as witchcraft, thinking that they can siphon off or suck off your energy while they watch you engage in private conduct. That's the behavior of the demon possessed. This is within the pattern of conduct of group stalking. While the government is stalking you in helicopters, doing so pursuant to the same demonic behavioral pattern that is sexually predatory. It's not different. Remember, the audible activity creation is pursuant to the same pattern of conduct. So you're talking about the sex offender that will amplify audible activity. The only distinction is you're making between state action and what is vicariously state action. That's it. It's impossible audible activity. The entity is engaging in it under an impossible occurrence that a sun is over a hotel building for 12 plus hours. It is within the phenomenon, the impossible occurrence that sunlight ricochets into the 4th floor hallway staircase of a hotel where the light source is captured at 8:24 in the same hotel after 6 p.m. And yesterday I'm capturing video after 7 p.m. That's not the natural environment. That's where amplified audible activity that occurs with simultaneity to my genitalia being exposed. That's the sexually motivated pattern of conduct, which, by the way, is sexual violence that the entity also engages in with minor children. Monitoring, surveillance in a private space is and shall be prosecuted as a sex offense. Sex offenders like to include children in sexual violence. You're going to prosecute for that in the same way that the federal government would prosecute a rapist that includes a minor child in that sexual violence. You include them in the act. Would you rape a man or a woman and include a child in that sexual act? Would you do that? Well, you don't engage in group stalking in a private space with children either. This is what the people of the state are doing on a routine basis, while they as a society engage in and practice federal group stalking and monitoring. You're going to prosecute the same. You're going to prosecute exactly the same, because that's the level of violation that the government, the people are engaging in. And the demons sought to do it secretly so that you would never be heard, so that you suffer in silence. That's also speaking to the violence perpetrated by a sex offender. That's all relevant. And literally, while I walked outside right now, you saw demons pacing in the hallway. You saw demons pacing in the hallway in the environment where the sun is never possibly present, over both Alvarado Gardens at 1806 North Alvarado Street and also my apartment complex, my leasing office, and which is also on the record. But I was in this hotel room capturing screenshots, just showing you example after example at the same time. 6:39 p.m. This is the fake sun outside of the hotel room facing Myrtle and Huntington, where the demon possessed are engaging in an ongoing perpetual sex offense, which I'm going to drain the pockets of the people of the state TOWNEPLACE Suites by Marriott for. They engaged in a sex offense on video right now. Pacing in the hallway, you're engaging in the elements of monitoring. You're engaging in surveillance in plain sight, thinking that nobody knows what your demonically relevant pattern of conduct looks like. And you're doing it with impunity and malice, and you're doing it as a sex offense. You're monitoring someone inside of a private space, in a hotel. And that's what they're doing on a 24-hour basis, pacing all around inside of the hotel, pacing around in the sky space over the hotel, pacing around all around the hotel in the parking lot and on the roads and the highways, across the street in the parking lot, pacing in and out of the buildings all around. This is a demon-possessed population. Everything that they're doing is centered on me. The demon-possessed are a psychotic population, and all they're actually doing is pacing. The demon-possessed want to look like this is everyday life. They want to desperately blend in. And I've shown you the environment. This is not normal. They're pacing. They don't want you to know what they're doing in the spirit. And it's also sexually motivated. So this is what the entity is doing in this specific environment. That is no natural conduct. And they are foolish enough to engage in group stalking on video. You're foolish enough to arrive for work. You're foolish enough to check into the hotel. You're foolish enough to show me engineer light on video again at yet another location. And you're foolish enough to think that you're driving off and getting away with anything. Because the demon-possessed, millions of them by now, it's been days, millions of them participating in surveillance by driving at the intersection of Huntington and Monrovia. And the entity thinks that, let me be clear, there are people who are going to federal prison for the impunity that the entity is documented engaging in. The ceaseless demonic features of amplified audible activity, sensational activity, the ongoing group stalking, and the directly threatening conduct while the state directly acts, which is not helping the people who, like I said, this is the foolishness of the entity system. People are going to federal prison, and then the fire departments, the entity that's group stalking by these demons driving ambulances, the demons of the, let me be clear, just off the top of your dome, the federal government knows to go right to the Monrovia Police Department. Nobody is escaping anything. Where you live at Avalon Bay, I don't have to go over there and get that. I don't have to pull up a Google map and get everybody. That's not what this is. That's not what this is. This is a massive means of prosecuting a massive crime by an entire government and entire population. And while they engage in it with impunity, you're adding on time to how long you will be going to federal prison. You'll find out. Perhaps you don't get it yet, but you will be going to federal prison. And it is no mystery who you are and the weapons, the instruments that you extended in order to engage in it, while a sex offense, a perpetual sex offense, and criminal monitoring, which is the conspiracy to murder and or permanently kidnap a targeted individual with knowledge of the fact that it was being documented. The entire time aware of the fact that it was being documented. So I just want to make sure that I documented that. The entity engaging in that's why I stepped out to get the demons who are calling themselves housekeepers. Satan can call himself whatever he wants. He can dress up in a clown suit and provide a show for the kids. Guess what? It's relevant positioning. They're doing it with minor children. This is showing the sickness as opposed to something innocent and cute. This is how Satan operates. very maliciously, very high level deception at play. You will never forget the targeted engineered light, the targeted environment with a fake sun, the targeted environment with amplified audible activity. That same targeting conduct is ongoing when my legs are open, when a whole population knows that my genitalia is exposed, when a whole population is aware of the fact that I'm physically nude in a shower, touching my body at whatever location, and sex offenders choose at that moment to engage in communicating a threat. Yes, I'm monitoring. Yes, I'm stalking you while you're touching your genitalia, while your legs are open. That's the conduct. That's the communication by the sex offender. That's going under a whole population. Documented thousands of people who are going to be prosecuted for that because the entity acts as one. Your criminal engagement in federal group stalking and monitoring did not end when I moved away from Alvarado Gardens. This is the same criminal system that you were engaging in. This is the same sexual violence that you were engaging in. You sought to do it also in a workplace, Country Village Apartments and speaker companies. No one has forgotten. Oh, that's also Jay Williams. Jay Williams Staffing. And that's just on the record. Remember, while practicing law, this is the pattern of conduct that I was subject to unbeknownst to me as a practicing attorney. This is the sex offense that a state has engaged in, and it will be prosecuted as a sex offense committed by companies who are nothing other than the people that say it's going under your company name. It's going under your name as I prosecute you. It's going under the criminal activity of the government itself. The government will be prosecuted as a sex offender because the government is engaged in sexual violence while it practices witchcraft and demonic activity, demon possessed. Okay, they're hollow dummies pacing all around me 24 hours a day. And it's no longer a mystery and it's not a secret. And everything that they are doing is pointing to themselves and each other. And you have people that are adding time onto the federal prison clock, if you will, because you're going to federal prison. Those that I've told you you're going to federal prison, you're going. And you're all getting a criminal record that you will never forget. And nobody else is going to let you forget it either. It's currently 11 a.m. at third-party facilitating venue, TOWNEPLACE Suites by Marriott. So let me show you again the location that is subject to the pattern of conduct. This is relevant for what a RICO charges. This is not a legitimate business. This is where I'm subject to the perpetual sex offense by the state of California. It's the bottom portion of this. This is criminal summoning captured yesterday. I'm just using this for purposes of documenting where the pattern of conduct is centered at right now. And it's my location at TOWNEPLACE Suites by Marriott at 102 West Huntington Drive in Monrovia, California. This is P.O.C.